Okay. Okay, so it's an important question because, of course, you have physical world. And when you're physical beings in physical world, always want to rush to the physical. Need to understand, first and foremost, that whilst you're here for the physical, you're here for the experience of the physical. Your reality, as you call it, is all energetical. And so we would say, obviously, the first place to go before you contemplate anything in the physical is through the energetical. Start there. You must. If you intend to do anything physical, and this isn't just to do with what is occurring right now, we'll get to that, but anything in life, always start with the energetical. What do we mean? Well, we mean that your intention, for example, sets the vibrational frequency for the physical action to follow. So always start with a thought, an emotion, an energy of what you intend for your physical activity to bring about. If you don't start with intention, you are operating in a physical world with no thought for the frequencies, the energetical frequencies that you are putting into the physical activity, which then results perhaps not in the desired outcome. And so you sit there and say, oh, well, my physical attempt was didn't work. It failed. It was a failure. And yet the reality of it is you don't even know what the physical would have achieved because you're only operating on the physical and not allowing for the intention of the frequency of the energy to manipulate the physical, because it starts with the energetical and then the physical follows. If you ignore the energetical in a conscious way, you're still imbibing your physical activity with a frequency, with an energy. It just is probably not the energy that you want in order to achieve the outcome at the other side of your physical activity. And this is the problem that most people get involved in when they are taking or embarking on a physical endeavor of whatever kind that is. You haven't taken the time to inject that physical activity with the energetical frequency that will allow you to get to the desired outcome. It's not that you don't have to take physical activity, it's that you are not guiding that physical activity in an energetical way. So you are kind of missing how reality works. And then you'll say, well, I tried that and it didn't work. Or you'll say, well, that didn't work for me, or I've done it so many times now, or it's like pushing a boulder up a hill because it's hard work. And it's because, yes, of course, because you are embarking on physical activity without injecting that physical activity with the frequency energetically that you need in order to get to the desired outcome of the whole point of the physical endeavor. So start with the energy. You must. Intention. All things, all physical has to start with intention. What is your intention? So when you say, the questioner asks about taking an activity to call to action, rise up, revolution. Okay, well, there's kind of 3 stages there. A call to action, a rise up, and a revolution. I would say that those 3 things are escalations of the desperate. If you are asking about a call to action, I feel a call to action. That's a personal. If you're genuinely feeling it, then it's a personal, instinctive. It's a personal, intuitive guidance system. It's a personal prod that comes that says you need to move now. And maybe this can be, as we said, for anything. It doesn't have to be connected with the current events. It can be with all of life. Starting a business, going on holiday, getting married. All of it starts with a poke, a prod, this feeling of a call to action, as it's been labeled. And that can be this thing of, I think I need to move now. And when you get that feeling, as long as it's the right time, and long as you are in touch with your own personal guidance systems, and you're not just forcing something to occur. If you are in the space of knowing what it is that you want, you've done the intention, and then you feel the call to action, you should follow. You should follow that call to action, because that is the prod that says the time is right. The time is now. We need to make things move in a physical way, in the physical experience of your time on earth, in the way that will align with the energetical frequency that you are putting out that you wish to achieve. So this is a personal prod. It's a call to action. And as I said, so long as this is not coming from fear, desperation, as long as it is a genuine moment that you feel inspired within you to say, I feel called to do this now. I feel pulled. I feel the yes, the pull to do this now. You absolutely should follow that impulse in the appropriate ways. Take your time, do it properly, get support, whatever it is that you need. But yes, you should follow that impulse. So that's what I would call the call to action. That's what I would call. It's a internal poke, prod that says, I think I've got to get moving on this now. And it happens with all things. It happens with the goals that you set. It happens with the life dreams that you set. It happens with everything that you want from life. You can sit and want. When you feel that poke to move, you should bloody well move, because you're a physical being in a physical world, and you can't just sit and live in your head thinking of the energy. You do that first. You do that first and then wait for the poke. And then you call to action, you follow through. And that call to action is a feeling within you. Let's be clear. That's a feeling within you, inspired from within you, that says, I think I need to move. It can come from a stimulus from external. You might hear of something that's occurring. You might hear of a job that's available. You might hear of some event that's taking place, or in this case, it could be a protest that's taken. And you feel within you, innate within you, this pull that says, I have to move on this. I have to go. I have to do. I have to be. That should be followed through, and that is a personal call to action. Now, the rise up. We would say that in escalating from a personal call to action, inspired call to action, to a general rising up. Now, energetically speaking, we have said that there needs to be a rise up. We said that in many ways, the phrase wake up is a misnomer, because people have known about negativities that are occurring on planet Earth and done nothing about it for many, many years. Part of this time that you are living through is to move through that, to create something better, to create a new way of being. And that new way of being has to be something to do with a rising up that will say we will not tolerate the injustices that have been occurring under my watch. And that's the hardest part, because it has been under your watch. When you know that people are starving in Africa, when you know that there are atrocities all across the globe, and you manage to stifle, you manage to sit on, you manage to ignore, you forget, get on with your life. We're not saying that we don't understand why. And the world's is not even to blame, because obviously the systems are in place that prevent you from being able to perhaps move as fast and as scaled as you would like to. But the reality of it is that atrocities have been allowed to be perpetuated simply because the vast majority of mankind were willing to ignore This is not a wake up. This is a rise up. This is what I say, a rise up. You need to rise your frequency to the point that says, no, this is not acceptable. This is unacceptable that we sit in a world where people are treated this way. Is unacceptable. Where we sit in a place where so many people have nothing and people argue over their varying degrees of what they do have. This is unacceptable. So we say that that's a rise up. To declare something as intolerable as your frequency rises for yourself and for your planet is a part of the rise up. And the rise up is required. Because if everybody turned around and said, no, believe you me, it would be done. If everybody unanimously turned around and said, no, it would be done. Whatever it was, it would be done. However far-fetched, however unimaginable, if as one you spoke and said no, it would be done. So we think that the rise up for us is a legitimate frequency rising of individuals and planet to the point where what has been tolerated for far too long will become more and more intolerable. Now, in that moment, the rising up, therefore, becomes taking a stand. It may take a stand, but it doesn't have to take a violent stand. It doesn't have to take an aggressive stance. It doesn't have to take a stand of some kind of oppressiveness or staunch aggression. That resounding no must come from a space of love in the first instance. Intention. Set your intention before you do anything. And then in that space where you get a unanimous no, you don't need to engage in violence. You don't need to engage with. It's just a unanimous declaration to all who need to know. It's a no, and I will not back down on this. You see, there is power in the no when it's used correctly. We are frequently aware of the resounding power of the no for children and how difficult as a parent that is to overcome. When a toddler says no and means no and cannot be coerced and cannot be cajoled and cannot be convinced, any parent knows they will win. When a child says no and means no, on that they will win. And it's no different for the collective, because when you stand together and the no is absolutely unbreakable, unshakable, unwaverable, when collectively you resoundingly say no, it is done, because there is nothing that can beat a absolute impenetrable no. You say, oh, but they could torture. Oh, but we're not even getting to that point, because the frequency of a intentional no, when produced in great enough numbers, results in whatever it is that you are saying no to being gone. This is fact. Any time in history when somebody or many peoples have taken a vow of no, the no will win. The no will win. Because when you make that declaration, and it's a declaration to yourself, to your family, to your friends, to your country, to the planet, this is a no for me. This is a no for me. No more. No. You cannot break that. There is nothing that can convince you to change that when you make that declaration. And with the numbers that you have on the planet rising up at this time, ready to declare no, it need not go any further. You do not need to go any further into the aggression that you are associating with this, where there does not need to be anybody. It can just be an implacable no. Try it. We urge you, try it. Find something that matters enough that when you feel the word no within you, everything in you comes and stands alongside that resolution as an impenetrable wall that will not allow anything to dissuade it. This is the power of the no. When utilized for something that is purposeful, meaningful for you, for the planet, there is nothing that can shake it or break it if you are resolute in your energy of no. So we say this is the rise up. Decide what is no for you. Decide what is the no for you. Of course, it's different for different people. That's the beauty of the world you live in. But as the frequency rises of people and planet, you will find more and more unanimous agreement on what is and what is not acceptable. Abuse of children is an easy one. No. There are very few people, we use that word advisedly, that will stand by happily allowing children to be abused. But you have allowed it. And you have allowed it collectively, individually, as a way of too big a deal to focus on, too much effort, too scared, all these things that have allowed your implacable no to be irrelevant. Well, as your frequency rises, as the planet rises to support you, that no will see manifestation of results because you stand by the no and there is no more. There is no more. We will no more allow this. This is a no for me. And it will be different for things for different people, and that's fine. That's how it works. But there are high enough frequencies right now on the earth to support implacable no's, to support that energy and frequency of something that you stand behind with all that you are. It's a no from me. It's a no. When you get to that space, this is the rise up. Now, does that mean collectively that you will stand together in a physical format as a no? Of course. Why not? Why not? You see, you're social beings in a physical sense, and the energy comes first to be followed through with the physical. If you weren't here for a physical experience, what would be the point of life? So stand in your physicalness as one. Absolutely. Absolutely. Stand in your physical as one with the energy of an implacable no. This is the rise up. Now, people call the rise up a rising up, and they mean in terms of become aggressive, become violent, disobey, disobedience. Well, disobedience is really only when that which is being demanded of you is something that you personally cannot entertain. If you can entertain it, most people will not disobey. Most people will not. If there is something being orchestrated at this time and in any way does not invoke within you disobedience, it's because within you it's not an implacable no. So for you, it might be that being told to put on a mask is not an implacable no. I'm willing to do that. That's your choice. That's your personal choice. For others, it's an implacable no. And that implacable no will not allow them to be swayed, to be coerced, to be forced, manipulated, because that energy of resilience within them is a no. For others, the idea of being told that they are not allowed to collectively come together to voice their no is okay. I don't have a problem with that. Well, then that's your choice. That's your energy. That's your frequency. You are not in an implacable no. That's okay. That's you. For others, being told that they are not allowed to come together, to stand in their implacable no, will raise disobedience, because for them, within them, it is an absolute, irrevocable no. That's not acceptable to me. And that should be allowed as well. Because you see, the one thing that human beings have got to get at this time, and they've had many chances to get, is that tolerance of other people, tolerance of opinions differing from your own, tolerance of wishes that go against your own wishes but do not impinge upon your own, has to be asserted now. There is no other time. For goodness sake, if you cannot be tolerant of absolutely everybody right now, when are you going to be? When are you going to be? You are being told you're in this together, and you're being manipulated by that phrase, but you can flip that phrase into a reality that does exist for you. You are in this together. You're here for the purpose of the new era. And if you're not going to allow a difference of opinion today, when the hell are you? When the hell are you? 7.5, nearly 8 billion people, and you want everyone to agree with you? Good luck with that one. That's not what you're here for, by the way. That's not what you're here for. You're not here to ensure that everyone agrees with you. The biggest calamitous statement of the ego is that my opinion must win. I will label you if you disagree. I will challenge you if you disagree. It's irrelevant. This is an energetical universe. You have no business trying to make sure everyone agrees with your ego. You have no business doing that. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to change your opinion to agree with their opinion. Far from it. You do have to find a way to live together right now. To understand and appreciate that for all you are, you require some people that are completely different to you in order to make this transition to the new era occur. For all the peace-loving, soulful, energetical, spiritual beings that are here, we need a few warriors, do we not? We need a few warriors, do we not? Now, that's not to say take to the streets with weapons, but that warrior spirit of I will die for this planet, even if we are saying, no. You will not be required to die for this planet. But don't you need that warrior spirit to invoke the frequency of passion, of life in the 7.5 billion people that are on this planet? You need contrast. You need support systems. And those support systems are not just you in your family. They exist in the stranger on the street, for every person wearing a mask. Believe you me, you need the ones that do not. You need them. You need them. For everyone that wants the vaccine, you need the ones that do not want it. You need them. Without the contrast, without the complementary, energetical beings on this planet, you are nothing. You are nothing. You don't conform, you don't change yourself. You are yourself, and you stand there as your right to be yourself. But bloody hell, you let the others do the same, and you let them do it now. Because you need them as much as they need you. So the rising up has to coincide with this feeling of tolerance for all. For all. You've had so many chances, dear humans, to embrace tolerance. You can't come to a physical experience to take on so many different appearances and experiences if it wasn't for the very fundamental truth that tolerance is the first step, not the last. You're here to appreciate the differences, to wallow in the differences. That's experience. You're here for the physical experience. If you're not here to wallow in those differences, then there's no point to being here. Wallow in the differences. Rejoice in them. That is the very, very crux of humanity. Don't seek to change everybody to your stance, to your opinion. Wallow in their differences. Wallow in it. Because this is the act of humanity and the physicality that you came to experience. Breathe it in. Breathe it in. You look different. How wonderful is that? You act different. How amazing is that? It's the contrast that gives the complement that creates the whole. It's the contrast creates the complement, creates the whole. Now, in the third step, we are at revolution. Okay. So revolution breaks down to revolt. Revolt says you physically, violently, aggressively say no. So we can say, as I said from the start, I see this as an escalation of the feeling of the impulse of a physical need to take a call to action. Revolt. Revolution. Okay. Well, there have been many revolutions over time. Mostly not because the people, bizarrely, if you go back into true history, actually felt inclined to a physical revolution, a physical, violent, death to others kind of revolution. What starts as an impulse of inequality, or starts as an impulse of injustice, or starts as an impulse of a call to change, can be manipulated by those that seek to divide and conquer, those that seek to divide and rule, those that seek to dominate and consolidate their own positions of authority. Will fan the flames of anger. In the fanning of the flames of anger, you will usually end up in some kind of revolution. Why would you have a revolution that's not of the people but brought about by manipulation of the people? Because look at what occurs afterwards. Chaos. Chaos ensues. What comes from chaos? A small group of people that assert their power, claiming to dominate you, claiming to be the solution for you, asserting their own rule, their own rights, their own power of position. They'll do it in the name of democracy, and they'll do it in the name of fairness. But usually, I'm not saying every time, usually. Now, when you get to revolutions that are not angry, violent, when you get to revolutions that are peaceful, and there are plenty also, well, they're usually the ones that are not provoked, because they're usually the ones that come from a soulful alignment of conjoined frequencies coming together for the implacable no. That time is coming. Yes. Not violence. If it erupts into violence, it's because you are being manipulated. The anger that is within is being manipulated into becoming something that it is not. There is no need for a revolution to become violent, killer. Start. There's no need for it. There's no need for it. There's no need for it. What is occurring here is a wanting for change, so desperate. Well, desperate needs to go because it's already done. You just got to get there. Does that mean you take physical action? Yes, we've assessed that, but you must start from energy. You start from energy. In the space of energy and intention, you follow through on the call to action. As you rise up, you are willing to stake your implacable no's, individually and collectively. The revolution then comes when you embrace one another. When you embrace one another, that's the revolution. Not fan the flames of hatred for one another. You come together in your implacable no, in love. Unbeatable. Unbeatable. When humanity comes together in its implacable no, beating with the heart of love, it's done. It's done. We feel the need to move now because rising up, call to actions are being experienced within people. The call to action is within you, so you must sit and say to yourself, what am I feeling called to do? What am I feeling called to do now? Where am I most needed, perhaps? What inspires me? Don't start from the negative. We've done that, right? We've done that. We know that. What inspires me? Where do I feel inspired to create physical change now? I am awake to this new birthing experience. I'm awake to the authoritarians desperately trying to manipulate mankind and hold on to their outdated power play. I'm awake to all of this, and I know. Okay, so where am I most needed? Inspired call to action, not fearful. Fearful leads to fear. God knows we don't need any more of that. Find your inspiration. Where is it that you're needed? What's calling to you? What one small window in your world is calling to you to take some inspired action? Do it. Don't wait. Do it. In the frequency rise that brings you, and it will, you will then find this rising up more and more and more and more around you, surrounding you, embracing you. Work out what your implacable no's are. Because yes, you will need to know them. And they will be different for everyone, and that's just fine. Because I love and appreciate everybody. And for every person that wants to do what they're told, I love and support you. And for every person that does not, I love and support you. Stay there. Stay there in your tolerance and appreciation for the vast array of complex differences that exist between 7.5 billion people. Wallow in it. Don't seek to change anybody. Don't seek to change. You don't need to. The rising up will do that. The rising up will bring everybody to the place they need to be. Get so caught up in the manipulations. You're being played in the manipulations of how to beat this COVID-19 virus. Oh my God. Why do you think this is playing out? Why do you think this is playing out across the world right now? Because the frequency of mankind is becoming so high. Those that seek to maintain their illicit control over the world are desperate to keep you where you are. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. Go for the main stage. Go for the main stage. This is the time of birth of the new era. What are you going to do to get there? Don't get caught up in the sideshow. The sideshow is the virus. The sideshow is the mask wearing. The sideshow is the social distancing. The sideshow is you must not protest, or you are to protest, or I must. The sideshow. That's the sideshow. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. Go to the main stage. What are you doing to birth this new era right now? Rise up, rise up, rise up. The implacable no is your stance on the world that says, I am here for the energy of the frequency of the new era. You cannot tell me that I am anything other than a sovereign being of light, here to usher in the new era, and you cannot stop me, and you cannot stop it. And this is the way that the world is moving forwards and forwards, relentlessly moving on as the frequency rises. State your implacable no's and rise up. Rise up with the frequency of knowing that you are unmovable, you are unshakable. Revolution? Let's have a revolution of love. I'm not saying that to be coy, to be some kind of whatever. Just absolute. The revolution come because the frequency of mankind is so damn high. Nothing else is acceptable. You stand together in love. That's the revolution. Love for all. Love for all. There's so many displays of intolerance right now. So many displays of division that you've got to be the ones to rise above it. No one else can. No one else can. No one else can. Every single person saying, I love and appreciate the differences in you. I love and appreciate you as you are. I don't seek to change you. I don't need to change you. I don't need to. I don't need to. Do I have to agree? No. Do I have to change? No. But I wallow in the differences because they are the very, very, very culmination of humanity. The call to action, the rising up, the revolution. You get to choose where you access the physical nature of the shift. Start with the call to action. Always the best place. Always the best place. The rising up will occur anyway. It's occurring now. You can make sure that your frequency is as high as you can personally get there. Maintain it for as long as you possibly can. You will resonate with the frequencies of those around you who are rising up at this time. You will take a stand and you will find your implacable no's. But it doesn't have to be violent and it doesn't have to be aggressive. Far, far from it. When you find the power of your no, you are stepping into the light. You are stepping into the light because no more can you. No more can you allow anything to determine your fate, anything external from you, from the being of light that you are, from determining your existence. There will be implacable no's, there will be implacable yeses. Follow those, follow those. Will you be asked to take a stand? You're not asked, no one's being asked. The asking is coming from within. The stand will come from within when you get to the rising up. There is injustice in this world, is there not? How long will you tolerate it? This is the question. That's all the rising up is. That's all the rising up is. When you know that your banking systems are fraudulent and perpetrating catastrophes across the planet and funding them, how long will you stand by and allow this to continue? These are the injustices that occur on the planet, and you have allowed them and allowed them. The rising up is simply a state to say no. 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 When authorities are trying to tell you what to do, trying to tell you that you cannot be this, trying to tell you where to go, you will find that there's a reason. No. No. Find your implacable no's and stand by them. In peace. In light. In identification of the soul that you are. That doesn't need anything more than expression in the physical world. So much happening, so much shifting, so much changing. Don't get pulled into the sideshow of the COVID. Don't get pulled in. Manipulation to attempt to prevent you all from moving on. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Do you think it really matters? Oh my goodness, this is an energy world. And you're arguing over a mask. Where did your health come from? From a scrap of material across your mouth? Come on. But wear it. I don't care. No one should care. You want to wear one. It's your right. It's your right. It's your right if you don't as well. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. People want to go out and protest. That's what they feel compelled. That's their call to action. Everybody. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. Oh my goodness, they're wrong there. No, they're not wrong. You want to stay home? You're not wrong either. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. You want everyone to take a vaccine. You want no one to take a vaccine. Both are right. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. You do your life. Go to your highest frequency. Stay there. That's relevant. Go to the main stage. So much more coming. New year. Ha. Newer energy. Newer energy. Keep rising, keep rising, keep rising. You are shifting this turbulence all the time. So much to come, yes, no question about it. We cannot say that there is not. But you are shifting the narrative all the time with your frequencies of light, of love, of support, of tolerance, of kindness, of oneness, of humanity. You are shifting. Go there. That's the main stage. Go there. If you feel compelled to tell somebody off, stop yourself. That's choosing the main stage. If you feel fearful, if you feel angry, drop that. Go to your highest frequency. Get to the main stage. The only revolution this planet needs is a revolution of love. Go there. Go there. That revolution will take many different faces across the planet as you move forward, as you move on. It does not ever need to take to killing, mass murder, violence, anger, distortion of reality. A revolution of love. Ah, yes, that is coming. This year is about progression. This year is about progression of the humanity within people. It's about the progression of the light. It's about the progression of the diversity of that light. It's about the progression of coming together. Drifted so far apart. It's about the coming together in your individuality, embracing one and all in the light. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. Go to the main stage and you shift the narrative. All of this is done. All of this is done. There will be events for you to pass through this year. How can there not be? You already know this. Pass through it with light. Pass through it with love. Don't get caught up in the sideshow. Maintain your integrity to the energy that you are, the light that you are, the love that you are, the one that you are. Breathe it in, breathe it out. Go higher, go faster. Breathe it in, breathe it out. Dominate that main stage. So all of the distractions fall by the wayside. Much love.